See if we got that going. See if it's working, but see if we have it because it should be populating right now. So we do have it. Uh Welcome back in. This is the Veteran Awareness Project workshop. Today is just going over the CFR again some more. Had a couple of questions that people asked throughout the week on the post, and just gonna try to touch on those as best I can. There's certain there's certain questions that were asked basically that didn't have a actual there's no like root cause of answering it. So it kind of gets difficult because some of the questions is just like, hey, people are bringing them up, but there's no sure answer as to why certain things are happening. When it comes to it, one of the questions that was basically asked was why do claims take so long? And that is a tricky question to answer and a tricky question to get into because of the fact that the thing is good afternoon, Annette. There's a difficulty in placing why it is that certain people's claims take so long. So there's different instances, there's different reasoning to it, I guess is the way of saying it, because of the fact that it's just like you have different factors that go into it. So in the case of let's put it in the case of your claim, right? Some people, when they file their disability claims, they are fully claimed. They understand it to the full extent. They have a fully developed claim, meaning that they have all the documentation, all the paperwork, all the stuff that's within there. That speeds up the process when it comes to a person filing for their disability claims. That makes it a lot easier. It makes it a lot faster for a person to be able to obtain their disability claim in a timely manner. Now, there's different instances like the BDD program, which is the benefits delivery by discharge, but that's only afforded to active duty service members when they are on their way to transition out of the military. So that program is basically meant for veterans, soon to be veterans, to use, because you are going from 180 days out to 90 days. In that time period, that's when you have to file that disability claim in order to actually have it by the time you get out. So basically, most disability claims take about 6 months to process and stuff like that. That's on a timely manner. The only difference is that sometimes these processes take longer because of the fact that people don't do the correct documentation. They don't put the right information. They don't have the correct information that is actually assisting them in their claim. So if you are filing a disability claim through the Veteran Affairs, if you don't have the right documentation, that's grounds for it being kicked back. If you use the wrong form, that's wrong and it gets you kicked back. Having the VFW and the DAV does help, but they don't always do their due diligence. That's the thing that people need to understand. It is a free organization and they do a good job of assisting veterans. The thing is that you cannot rely on anybody else to take care of you. You have to make sure that you are doing everything possible and you have all the documentation, all the imagery, all the statements and everything to make sure that your file is concrete. A lot of people go into the BFW, they go into the DAV, they go into the American Legion, they go into the Wounded Warrior Project, they go into the Gary Sinise Foundation, they go into all these organizations that provide a VSO, but they don't do their homework. In the military, we were taught, pay attention to detail. Details, details, details. Most people don't do that. Most people just assume that a VA officer or VSO is just going to automatically do stuff for them. The same way in many instances, many people go, see, look, I can see I'm going to have contradicting stuff because there's going to be people that say, hey, my VSO was great. And then there's going to be people that say that my VSO was trash. The same way it happens with the VA. Some people are going to say, oh, the VA is doing good. Oh, the VA cuts ain't going to affect us. And some people are like, oh, yes, it is going to affect us, or it is affecting us. So it's always, you have that two-sided thing. But the thing is if you yourself are not doing the due diligence to take care of your filing, you're not doing anybody a favor. You're not doing yourself a favor. Because the thing is most of these things are instances where you could have done a better job of filing your documentation and you would have helped you. You would have been successful. It was just like people just think that they go into this and the VSO is just going to automatically do it. VSOs aren't doctors. Shit, we ain't doctors. Us as veterans ain't doctors. Most of the time, the doctors that we actually had misdiagnosed us with a lot of the stuff. And that leads to a bigger issue when it comes to claims. Because let's say you are filing a claim for a specific thing, right? But you were misdiagnosed the whole time. Because remember, on active duty, it got put into your record. That doesn't mean that it was actually recorded correctly. You could have had a back strain or a dislocated disc, and they could have just put it as a back injury. So when it comes into the paperwork and they start looking for said paperwork, it says back injury and not dislocated disc. So right there alone, that is a misdiagnosis that is in your record. And you're using your record to try to prove that it was service connected. But if you had a dislocated disc and your medical record says nothing about the dislocated disc, you start running into problems. And that's why people need to make sure that when they're going through their medical record, you going through it line by line and notating everything. You have to be making a separation of these documents. A lot of the times veterans don't do that. What they end up doing is that they take their medical record and they just throw it in the claims process, throw it as evidence, and it's just like, if you didn't go and single out, because I tell people, if you're gonna file a disability claim, you need to make sure that you're going through your medical records and you're separating all these issues. You're separating if you had an ankle injury. Every time that ankle injury pops up in your medical record, you have to separate that. You had a back injury. Get all those documents separated and put it into a separate document. Create different PDFs of specific things that you are filing for, because then it makes it a lot easier for a VSO or a rater to understand, like, oh, okay, he's filing for an ankle injury. Oh, he submitted a whole document just on every instance of this ankle injury, because then it doesn't leave any doubt, because now you have all the documentation proving, oh, shit, this person did have this ankle injury. This is all the stuff he did, whether it's physical therapy, whether it's steroid shots, whether it's anything there, it's all on ankles. Now you have the difference of, hey, you did it for your back. Same thing. You went and took every single instance where you had a back injury, physical therapy, you tweaked it and you went and got seen, or you went to the chiropractor and all that stuff, and you have all that notated. Now you have it all under your back. But most people go under the assumption that you have your medical record and they just put it in there, it's going to automatically show up. Or just like people tend to forget, it's in chronological order. It's not on categorical order. So your knee injury could have happened 10 years ago, and then you had another instance 5 years later. That in between time from the 10 to the 5, there's more stuff that you had in there that's going to just make that disappear. So it's just like you got to do your due diligence to do that. You have to understand that if that's how you're going to file your disability claim, that's how you need to be successful. It's not about having to go pay somebody, because the thing is that you can educate yourself on the topic to understand what it is you're doing, so that way you have a better understanding of when you get that rating, why you got that rating. Because a lot of the times you'll see that most of the times, a lot of veterans get their ratings letter and they see, hey, we found favorable evidence, but they didn't service connect it. And most people will be like, how the hell did you find evidence, but you didn't connect it? Because the thing is they saw that you got something done or something happened, but there's nothing that says that it was caused by the military. I was just like, hey, it wasn't during a training accident. It wasn't this. It wasn't that. They put that in there and it shows just like, hey, that's not part of it. But that's where you have to make sure that you are identifying those things, because you're filing the claim. That's when it comes to, like I said, the CFR. I was just like, most people don't use the CFR, don't understand how to use the CFR. I'm not telling people to use it to cheat the system, because that's fraud. That's fraud. Whichever way anybody wants to look at it, that's fraud. The whole point of the Code of Federal Regulations is so you know when you are applying for disabilities or when you have anything going on, you know what it is your rating is and why you got rated the way you did. So if you got a 10% on something, now you can look it up and be like, oh, this is the reason why I got 10%. Then if you want to file for an increase, that's another thing. But going back to the question of why does it take so long? Instances like that where you don't have the proper documentation, it takes longer. Because the thing is they're trying to investigate to see if it is service connected. If you don't have the documentation after they've checked it, they can do the CMP exam, because they're going to do a CMP exam on it. unless it's just like without a doubt, which is sometimes a fully developed claim or ACE exam that they already know. It was just like, there's without a doubt, I don't have to worry about these issues. Why? Because it's proven. He has the documentation. He had the surgery, or he had imagery showing that it was a dislocated disc. When they look at your back x-ray and your disc is like halfway across the damn map, I don't think they need a question if it was a dislocated disc or not. But then it becomes a question of just like, did you continue to be seen for it? Was this an issue that continued to bother you? Was this an issue that was detrimental to you? How detrimental to you is it? So that also has to be verified, and they have to view it in the manner of just like, okay, you're going through these instances. What's causing these instances, and how is it making you worse? If you can't give that explanation, it's difficult. And then another thing also is like you can have conflicting information within your own disability claim. Because the thing is like, look, you had that dislocated disc, right? But when you went and got the C&P exam, you acted like nothing was wrong with you. You were in pain, but you fought through the pain, and instead of actually stopping when the pain hit, you decided to continue. I was like, in those factors there, it basically shows it's just like, yes, you have this injury. It is debilitating to you. It does cause you issues, but not enough issues for you to be compensated for. Because that's what I tell people. That's when it comes to like the table of contents. You go into the schedule of ratings, musculoskeletal. It'll give you a breakdown of this. So this is basically the range of motion. So here you have the range of motion. This is what they're testing you on in your C&P exam. If you go to your C&P exam and you don't know what this is, that's fine. You don't have to know what it is, because the thing is you're basing it off of when your injury or when your pain starts. The problem that we have with a lot of veterans when they go to the C&P exam, or even this is for active duty personnel also, if you know they're about to get out, this is something they need to know. When they are doing this examination, you have to stop when the pain starts. It's not time to be bold. It's not time to be all big and bad. It's just like when the pain starts, that's when you have to stop. Because that is what is identifying why there's an issue here. Because then the thing is that also gets notated. So, hey, if we go and we're going to send you to physical therapy, we know, hey, you can only move your arm, let's say 45%. At 45%, there's an issue. Well, let's see what medical issues arise at 45%. That's why they try to put you into physical therapy. For some issues, if you have the imagery showing that it was just like, hey, you have your joints are just too stuck together and they rub against each other and they do that, that's a simple way of just showing like, okay, can't fix this. So now, how far can he move? How far can she move? How much range does she have? If she doesn't have range, then yeah, we're going to compensate her for this level, but then it breaks it down by the levels. And hey, if y'all got questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Make sure you ask any questions. This is basically workshops, is just to make sure that if you are a veteran, you have that. TikTok, for some reason, has the issue where my screen goes in and out for some reason. So that's why most of the time I do this on YouTube and I just do the video on TikTok, because TikTok, for some reason, like the page goes in and out. So I'm trying to show y'all that, but that's as best as I can do on TikTok, because TikTok Studio is not the best for like highlighting and showing stuff off the camera. But that's the thing that people need to understand with this. It's just like everything is broken down in the CFR. Most people don't know what the CFR is. People don't interact with it, don't know. It's just like, but this tells you what it is, what range of motion is, what it is. It gives you a breakdown also if you just read the beginning parts where it gets you the interpretation of examination reports, resolution of reasonable doubt, evaluation of evidence. The reasonable doubt one is also being, there's a court case currently on that through the Court of Appeals that's going through the whole reasonable doubt thing. I believe the Supreme Court just ruled on it, that they won't. I don't believe that veterans would get the reasonable doubt part or something. I got to look more into that one. But higher of two evaluations, functional impairment, effective change of diagnosis. I was just like, appreciate you, Bubba. I was like, all these things are there, and this is information that's there for you to know how it is you're getting your disability rating, how for you to understand why you got that rating and how it is. This is also beneficial for all these veterans right now that have the issue where they are trying to file for an increase. If you are trying to file for an increase, you have to understand if you are able to get an increase. It's not just because it's more painful you're going to get an increase. That's the misconception that a lot of veterans have with the VA. Some of the biggest problems we have with the VA is the misconceptions that veterans have with the VA. Not with the VA itself, but the misconceptions and the thought process that a lot of veterans have towards the VA. That's where we have a lot of problems. That's where we have a lot of issues. Because a lot of veterans will file their disability claim, and then they'll receive their ratings letter, which says, hey, not service connected. And veterans will lose their shit and be like, not service connected. What I would wish the VA would do is that they would do a more specific thing as to why it wasn't service connected. Give you the actual specifics. It's just like, hey, we saw that you had this injury in this point, but from here to when you filed, you have not had any other instances or any other showing of you having this injury and it being hurting you or debilitating or causing you hindrance. So sometimes they don't specify, and that's, I think, one thing that would be best for the VA to do going forward is like specify why it is that these people aren't getting. Why was it that I was denied? Is it because I didn't have the evidence? Was it because the evidence wasn't strong enough? Was it because it doesn't say it was during service? Like, those are things that are essential that don't particularly help veterans, because the thing is most people will do that and they'll file. They'll get denied. And the thing is since they don't know what the Code of Federal Regulation is and why they rated them that way, what happens? A veteran will go and refile again. Instead of appealing the claim, they go and they refile again. So if you refile the claim, you basically just started your timetable all the way over, even though you already had that claim being processed. It was done incorrectly, and you could have just appealed it. You could have done a supplemental claim, you could have done a higher level review, or you could have gone to the Board of Appeals. 3 different instances that could have been used, but most people don't know that, and they get stuck in the fact that it's just like, oh, this is all I can do. Well, I got denied. Well, I'm going to go get paperwork again, and I'm going to do it again. That's a misconception. That's where a lot of veterans also lose out on that back pay. That back pay goes a long way when it's just like, if you filed correctly, they did it wrong, you file an appeal, and then it goes and gets backdated to the time when you should have gotten it received. But now if you went ahead and decided, hey, I'm going to go and file again, you just filed another claim. That just restarted your whole clock, because now that injury that could have gotten you to wherever it did before, you didn't appeal it. So you just decided to file another claim, and now you just lost the time period for that. Question is, let's say, I should be able to highlight this on thing. Let me see if it highlights it. Okay, there we go. So question is let's say some condition is not really clear on your records, but your VA doc diagnosis with that condition. Do they take that into consideration? They do take that into consideration. But the thing is just because you got diagnosed with it outside the VA doesn't mean that it was connected. You see what I'm saying? So that's in the instance of, like I said, if you had a back injury, which you had a dislocated back, but they called it a back sprain when you went to the doctor in the military. So your medical record is basically saying, oh, you have a back strain. In actuality, it was a dislocated disc. That makes it difficult, because now it's like, hey, when they look and evaluate you, it's just like, oh, well, you had a back injury. Nothing says you had a dislocated disc. It was the same instance, but both things are basically different. No, not outside the VA, within your VA doctor. No, that's what I'm saying. If your VA doctor diagnoses you with it, but the documentation in your records doesn't corroborate that, that's where you find that tricky situation, because your VA doctor is diagnosing you at that moment. But what you need is in your records to have that diagnosis, which you did not have. In those cases, it would be either you would have to some people go through the process of doing like a military records correction, which is ridiculous. But then it's also people providing a nexus letter for that. A lot of the times the VA doctors don't want to do it because they say it's a conflict of interest, which I have no fucking idea how that works. But you're a doctor. You're filing the diagnosis. You're filing the documentation for me. You were the one that diagnosed me with it. But, and that's what I'm saying at the same time, is just like, if your medical record says one thing and your VA doctor diagnoses you with another thing, it's kind of hard to make it a military connection because they don't add up. So your first instance happened, then you have your second instance, and that didn't happen. Or at least it happened, but it wasn't placed in your record as that's what happened. So now you have to go through the issue of trying to fix that so that they understand, like, no, the injury I received was a dislocated disc in the military. It was just put as a back strain or something like that. So that's the part, JC, where it gets difficult because a lot of veterans go through that issue. A lot of veterans get misdiagnosed with stuff. For me, I had an ankle injury. It was an ankle sprain. So when I went through the process, I had to appeal it, but I didn't know about appeals. So I went and refiled again. So I lost out on, I think it was like 10 grand, I think. Because I refiled again because my thing was denied. I didn't know about just going to the thing and having them have a high level review because I had an ankle sprain, but all my medical records said that it was an ankle injury. So when that VA rater starts looking for ankle sprain in your medical record and nothing pops up, it's easy for them to be like, well, this is going to be denied. Because I'm going to deny your rating. Why? Because you don't have anything that says ankle sprain in your medical record. You got diagnosed with it afterwards, but there's nothing in your record that says you had an ankle sprain. You had an ankle injury. And that little tidbit right there causes so much problem for it. Yeah, exactly. Like she just said, like somebody just said, it was just like, if you can have a herniated disc, but it'll be put as a back strain. Because the thing is if you don't get that MRI, you don't get that X-ray, you just have a back strain. It was just like, bro, your back just hurt. That's how it was with me. I had a dislocated disc. The only reason I went and I was able to get tested was because I showed up to the clinic and I was just like, look, man, my arm just went dead. I was playing PlayStation and my arm just went dead. Like it started just dying on me. You imagine playing like Apex or Call of Duty and you in there and then all of a sudden your hand just dropped and you holding on to the control with one hand and you looking at your other hand like, what the fuck just happened? It was, what? But it was just like, that was caused why? Because I had a pinched nerve because of that dislocated disc. And then when I went and I got seen for it, then I got the MRI and then I got the X-ray. And then it was just like, oh, well, you have a dislocated disc. And that dislocated disc being slipped like that is basically putting pressure on your, cervical spine. Yeah. C5 through C7, I believe. I was like, when Afghan and Iraq first kicked off, a lot of vets were getting medical evaluation before left Iraq, but they were denying nothing was wrong because they would be kept longer. So since that's not in their records, how can they claim PTSD? That's when you have to file buddy statements, JC. You have to have buddy statements and you have to have your personal and witness statements, buddy statements, your own statement. You have to put that in there because this is one thing that a lot of people don't understand also. When it comes to medical records, when you have your remember the pre-deployment assessments, and then the post-health deployment assessments, those don't end up in your medical record. It took me a while because I ended up looking for said documents in my records. Those records don't populate in your thing. Your pre and post-deployment records do not populate. Everything else will populate, but your pre and the health of the PHAs do not show up on there. So literally, you have that's viable evidence because the thing is you went before the deployment. It was like, oh, you were good, and then when you came back from the deployment, it showed you were fucked up. But the thing is that doesn't get put into your medical records. So that's vital information that isn't there. So you have to go and get buddy statements. You have to go get witness statements. You have to, if you could get multiple buddies that were there with you that went through it, that's there. You also have to put about how it's affected you in the future. So if you have your wife, spouse, even your kids, your neighbor, if they notice instances of why your PTSD triggers or why it's gotten bad or why you've had in those issues with that, you have to put that in paper. Because the thing is a lot of documentation doesn't get put into your medical records that should be, because it's still part of your medical records. But the PHA don't show up on there. The same way when a active duty service member now goes and gets a profile. Profiles expire. Before, at the beginning when I was around, which wasn't that long ago, but my generation and probably the before that, when you had a medical profile, it stayed in your record and you were actually able to go to the profile website and download it and see all the profiles you had. I think it was like 2015 or something like that. It got to the point where it's just like they changed the system where they didn't keep all of those profiles. So now the profile was only there if you had a permanent profile. So if you had a shaving profile or you had a CPAP machine, it stayed in there because it was permanent. If you had a permanent injury, then it stayed in your record. But if you had a temporary profile, they treated it as it's temporary. So once it expired, gone. So that was a vital change that most people didn't realize. And that's the thing. A lot of people, like I always tell people, most soldiers should know what an I Love Me book is. They should also have a I Hurt Me book. Because then you have a record of all these things happening. You have that documentation. You have that I Love Me book, which clarifies and says everything you did well. Your certificates, your training certs, your promotions, your reenlistments, any certifications you got, like if you were ammo handler or hazmat certified, or you went through the master gunner course or the master driver course, all that stuff, you put that in that file. But then in the other file is every time you got injured, every time you got hurt, every time you sprained your ankle, you put that in there because it's documentation. The thing is most people don't do that and they just keep pushing. Just keep pushing through the pain, keep pushing through the process. And that's what leads to many of the instances that we have with veterans not having documentation. Certain things don't get notated. Most of the stuff, like the injuries that you see for a lot of people that while they were deployed, that shit don't end up on the records. Me dislocating my shoulder wasn't even in there. I was just like, I had fucked it up before the deployment, and then during the deployment, I fucked it up some more. That shit wasn't in there. They had the first instance, but they didn't have the continuation having it, but I still got seen after the fact. Because the shit didn't set in right. I wasn't going to have no surgery for no shit like that. And then I ended up getting steroid shots and stuff like that. So it was also a continuation of therapy or trying to get better, which a lot of veterans failed to do also. Because the thing is it's the thought process of this happened to you, right? What have you done since? You got injured in 2012. It is now 2025. You haven't done anything. It didn't have no record of it, have no medical observation, no examinations. Even when you've been out of the Army, you haven't had any evaluation or anything from the doctor that you've had for a while. But at the same time, people just put up a nexus letter, and the nexus letter sometimes just operates and does the same thing and suffices to do that because it's like, hey, without a doubt, this dude had this injury and he got it at this time period, and I've been seeing him since said time. That's what a lot of, like I said, that's why I go here, and that's why I was like the website is free, vetawarenessproject.com. Y'all can go check it out. You go to resources, VA Nexus letters, gives you the guidelines, and then it gives you an example of what a VA Nexus letter should be. Because a lot of the times people don't fill that out either. When they try to propose it and they try to submit it out, they don't have that information. So a Nexus letter can help you with your disability claim. But if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to give it to your doctor and your doctor fills it out incorrectly. It was just like, that's a big issue. So that's basically going there. And then I also had it just like an extra guidance as to just giving extra steps while you're filling out your disability claim, because the nexus letter is important, because sometimes you don't have that documentation, but there's proof to actually show that. And that's what people don't understand. A lot of the times people don't understand that a nexus letter is one of the easiest things you can do. The thing is that if you propose a nexus letter to a doctor and a doctor doesn't know what the fuck you talking about, the doctor's gonna be like, you know what? I ain't doing this shit. I'm not putting my name on a document that says this. I don't even know what I'm supposed to put in the document. That's why most doctors hesitate to do the nexus letters. It's not because they don't want to, except for the VA, because they'll be like, it's a conflict of interest. But if you got a private doctor, most of the time they are hesitant to try to help you with a nexus letter because of the fact why. They don't know what was going to go in there. They've never served in the military. They don't deal with military people. They're not associated with the VA. They're treating you because that's your doctor. But that don't mean that they actually know what the hell is going on. It was just like, yeah, I've heard stuff with the military. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is rucking a 12-mile ruck with more than 45 pounds on your back. Because remember, it was a minimum was 45. But if you had a 240 and you had the fucking ammo cans and all that stuff, you were lugging a lot more weight than you should have been lugging. They don't understand that. They don't understand that that contributes to back issues. That contributes to the degenerative disc disease, because you're putting a lot more strain on your back doing a 12-mile ruck. And then that's the other thing. You did that 12-mile ruck, and then 2 days before, you just did a 7-mile run. And then you continue doing that. And you do that on a weekly basis. That's going to tear your body down. But that's where a doctor will be like, hey, I can associate the fact that his back injury is because of him doing this. But he doesn't know what that experience is. But if you use a nexus letter and the nexus letter actually gives you the information like, hey, this is what you're going to do. So look, you just click on example and this is what it looks like. So I have the example like this. This is how I created it so that people could just use it, but you got to tailor it to your issue. Your provider's information, because you got to prove who they are. Your information. The introduction, which is basically saying that the doctor understands, has reviewed your stuff and gone through it. Statement of review, saying what they reviewed. So that way, it's your doctor also assisting in creating a picture for you. Because the thing is you're painting the picture of your injury. This doctor is assisting with the painting of that picture so that it goes through it. But then you got medical opinion. Then it is, because it's the wording that it at least as likely as not 50% or greater probability. Because that wording is important also when it comes to that nexus letter. It's like saying, without a doubt, this injury has made it worse and stuff like that. But then medical rationale, then it gives you the breakdown. What was the event or the condition that caused it? The diagnosis, what they as a doctor diagnosis, because that's also thing that a nexus letter also can help that a lot of people don't understand. Like, so when you go and you scroll down here, it says addressing contrary evidence. So this right here is a portion of the nexus letter that can contribute to a misdiagnosis in your time in service. Because the thing is if they just said it was a back strain, but you had a dislocated disc or a herniated disc or a bulging disc, a slip disc, whatever the case, this can have that your doctor saying like, well, the evidence that was shown here has this. He's had signs of this and this, whatever the case, however they explain it, that's how you'll get that information in there. And that's how you get that in your record. Because now the nexus letter is explaining like, oh, the VA said that he had this. But with my expertise, I can tell you that that was incorrect of a diagnosis because he's had this issue there. His disc or like it'll have to go into a more deeper medical terminology, but still keep it simple at the same time. It was just like, well, you can't tell me that, or explaining it to the point where that dislocated disc or the cartilage that you have in between the disc has lost itself for this amount in that space. Let's assume. So it's just like where that dislocated disc happened, it was just like you have less cartilage. So then that'll show that it wasn't just a back strain. It was just like that's contrary to the evidence of having an MRI and an X-ray, where it shows that he has less cartilage in this area, which is the cause of a length of time of having this issue, which he has stated started time and injury. And it has progressed and has gotten worse, where now I am treating them with this. And there is, and it says it also, it's just like veterans lay statements, updated diagnostic, imaging, or the chronic nature of the condition. Because that's the thing. It was just like it started at this point and it has continued to get worse. If you use that and put that in a VA Nexus letter, you have a better chance of winning. But it's also your doctor knowing what they're writing. And that's the thing. That's why I created this, because the Nexus letter, most people don't know how to do it. You'll have many places say like, hey, we'll write you a Nexus letter. I was just like, you can write it yourself. You don't got to pay nobody for it. You can just go to my website and just get it for free. It's free. All this I do is free. Most people don't understand it. Most people think it's just like, bro, this dude is probably going to start at one point and he's going to be like, I'm going to sell you this. I ain't trying to sell anybody anything. If I do sell something, it's going to be a fucking seminar or a workshop that I hold, because then that takes my time. That's my time, me doing the due diligence, me doing the research, me putting and creating products. And then, yes, I will charge if I'm going to do like a seminar that's going to hold people in a place. But like I said, I already have a process of knowing what I want to do with those seminars. But it's not going to be like I'm going to charge you $500. Am I going to make you more than $500 over the lifetime of your thing? Most definitely. Because if you go from 0 to 100, that's already $4,000. And if I just charge you what? 50? Maybe $100 for a fucking workshop that's going to be a couple of days, and you're going to go through the whole process and you're going to educate it on it. You're going to be shown diagrams. You're going to be shown actual methods of doing it, how to write it, how to do this stuff. $100 ain't that bad. If you're making an extra $3,000 a month, tax free. But a lot of this is free information. A lot of this is information that's there, that's available to people. And it was just like, I don't want to do that to people, because I would rather educate the people and then have them do what they have to. But some of the stuff is just like simple stuff, like the Nexus letters, like shit. The DBQs, you go to my resources, has it there. Click down, roll down to it, disability benefits questionnaire. I got every DBQ on here. All you got to do is click on which one you need. And once you know which one you need, then from there, you just go ahead and download the file. That's it. That's it. Most people don't know they can use this. Most of these are public aware. They did make the changes that they removed some. And I also have that here. So if somebody were to come looking for a specific DBQ on the website, these are the ones that are no longer in use. And that's also off of the page. The thing is Rosemary, if you were denied for, the thing is it was just like, did you have the documentation? The website is Vet Awareness. Hold on. Vet Awareness Project. Why can't I type? That's the website, vetawarenessproject.com. Everything on there is free. All the documentation, everything is there for free. Any resources. It's something that I'm working on and building up. There, I will say there is a donations page, because the donations helps me keep the website running, because you still got to pay for the website. You still got to have it operate. So as people click onto it and stuff like that, I have certain links or promotional and affiliate links on there. If people want to buy something from Power Director, which is an editing program, or if they're looking into buying a PC or something like that, that's there for you to click. But that's the only way. That's the only way I add to the resources, because I don't get paid for this. So all the stuff I do is just basically because I want to make sure I'm helping vets. No, it's not mandatory, Rose. That's the thing. That's what I tell people. If you want to donate, because you can donate, I can't say no. I can't stop you. but it's not something that's necessary. It's something that if you want to, if I've assisted you and you feel like you want to donate, go ahead. But that's not something that's required. That's something that is there. And as I keep on working on the website, once I'm done with fucking school, once I'm done with school, then the website will be built about, there will be a lot more being added to it. But right now, I don't graduate till May. Once I'm done in May, I will be able to have all my mental resources that I have available, and it'll go into just this project and building this stuff up. But that's the thing. It was just like, that is just information that's there. I was just like, resources you could check. There's pages that are being built. VA forms. If you're looking for a VA form, you could go to the website also. The website is there for you to have VA forms to be able to find. Because a lot of the times, most veterans need a form, have no idea where the fuck to look for it. If you go through the va.gov site, it doesn't even give you like a listing directory. It is literally, which that's something I want to add here, like a drop down thing. If you know what you're looking for, it'll take you to it. But it's like most of the time, what's up, Monica? It was just like most of the time people don't understand that. Look, a lay in witness statement, that's VA form 21-10210. All you got to do, hit download. It'll show you the document. And then from there, if you need to fill it out, because most of these are PDF forms, you just download the form and you can fill it out. Or at least you know what it's supposed to look like when it's there, so that way it's not like, I don't even know what this form is. So that way you can use it and it benefits you by using it that way, because you have that there. But this also has all these forms. As I keep on finding, yes, the link is in the bio, the same one in the bio. Oh, just like all these forms are forms that are used. If you want to use a veteran service organization as a representative, VA form 21-22, you go through there and you could just click on it, download. It gives you the option to do it. No problem, Rhoda. It was just like, it's simple stuff. But the thing is like, there's too many people that want to take advantage of veterans when it comes to this, when it comes to actually educating them on stuff that's free. All these documents are free. The thing is that most veterans don't know where to go. Most veterans don't know where to look for this information. So it's on me to make sure it's just like, look, I went through this situation where I didn't know where to go. What's up, Pumbaa? I ain't got food for you. I was just like, cat. I'm sorry. It was just like, it was like, these are things that are there for people to understand. Most people just don't know that these documents are there. Most of the time we don't get taught this. A lot of the resources and a lot of the benefits, which is one of the other things I want to put in here, is that through the resources, I want to be able to put veteran organizations and have a list of, hey, these are the people you can go to if you need assistance in whatever the case may be. You'll go there. States benefits. That one is going to take a while, but that one is going to be a page where it's just like, hey, you will find all the resources for your state, because most veterans don't even know the availability of the stuff they have within their own state, which is a big issue. That's a bigger issue right there. It says it here, workshops every Sunday, 12 noon Central Time. And I do that, and I do this every Sunday. 12 noon, I do it. So, Miss Libby. Now, no pull up today. Well, if you're a veteran, you can pull up, but it's just like pull up with a question. No, just like, no, I don't have no political dialogue right now. This is more like, hey, if you want to pull up and you're a veteran and you have any questions, ask away. It doesn't matter what the question is. I'm going to work towards getting you an answer. If I can't find you the direct answer, most of the time, like, I know when I don't know something. Most of the time, if it's something like that, I will tell people, hey, reach out to the American Legion, the VFW, the DAV, if it's something that I know I don't have any background in or knowing. But most of the time, I have some sort of background in it. What we'll do is here on the live, the same way I'm showing y'all my screen is the same way where I'm going to show you step by step where to go to get this information. So that way you are aware of where you have to go, where you can get it, where you can get the stuff, and then you can do a deeper dive into the question that you may have. Because a lot of the times with the va.gov, a lot of the questions there, like a lot of veterans have a lot of questions towards stuff, and then they go to va.gov and it just gives you that little fluff answer. It's just like, you know, when we were serving and shit, they just do the check the block shit. That's what the va.gov does a lot of. It's just like to check the block. It's just like, oh, this is it. They don't give you a deep dive. It's just like, click here if you want more information on this. They don't do that. It's basically, look, we gave you the information. Then from there, good luck to you, which sucks. But then it's just like, that's part of the process that we have to fix. That's part of the stuff that VA has to fix. It was just like, we got to make sure that we are doing that in a more diligent way. Appreciate you, Monica. It was just like, that's what has to happen. And a lot of the times that does not happen with veterans. And then it goes it also goes with dealing with veterans that badmouth the VA when they just had a bad experience. You had veterans that love the VA. You got veterans that dislike it. But at the same time, whether you like it or dislike it, if you can't find information because you don't know what you're looking for, it's kind of hard to be successful that way. Kind of hard to be successful when you don't know what you don't know. You can't ask for stuff you don't know how to ask for. So that's why it's just like it goes into that difficulty of knowing that. And it's just like you have to be able to explain that to veterans. It's just like some of this information, a lot of the information, a lot of the resources that are available to veterans, I could probably say more than 50% don't know half of this shit. I didn't know a lot of this shit before I got out. I've been doing these workshops now going on what? This will be, I think I'm approaching 2.5 years now, going towards 3 years of doing these workshops on Sunday. I was just like, I wasn't doing them on TikTok before because I didn't really want to get on TikTok. But then it was just like TikTok pushes me out to more people that are veterans or active duty a lot easier than YouTube does, because YouTube will push me out to people if they are searching for it. TikTok will just throw me in front of somebody. It was just like, see, look, I sure didn't know till I ran across you. It was just like there's a lot of information that's there that a lot of veterans just don't know. There's a lot of dependent resources. There's a lot of educational resources that is just like, Rosemary, that's the thing is like a lot of people need to understand that it's just like, it's your documentation. So I know it sucks. I know it sucks dealing with the issues, but you have to make sure you got the documentation. You have to make sure you have that therapist or that counselor or that psychiatrist that has all that documentation and aligns with what you're saying. Because with that, that's also a nexus letter or DBQ, because the DBQ has it for what is it? I think does it fall under neurological? No, because they have it for PTSD. I can't remember what it falls under. I have it separated. But there's conditions that have them. You have to fill that out. You have to get the documentation for it. Because a lot of the times they have it, but see, look, initial post-traumatic stress disorder, that used to be one that was there. Now it's no longer there. They removed that one. Because the thing is they want you to be evaluated through the VA. So if you have PTSD, they want you to do that. But in cases like that, you have to have the documentation. If it's that buddy statement, like I said, VA forms, go to it, lay in witness statement. A witness statement from somebody that was there when it happened, somebody that's seen how it's affected you, even if it's your spouse now or even your kids, they can be a person that writes that letter. Because the thing is you are helping with that letter to paint the picture of the issue you are dealing with. So if you are dealing with PTSD, the VA wants you to put it in writing. The VA wants to be able to say, without a doubt, this person did have PTSD. They did suffer this through the military. The thing is if you don't have that documentation, it's easy for them to just be like, nah, denied. And that's the biggest issue we have. I was like, here, you go to mental health. You go to the CFR, right? The CFR has it broken down, mental disorders. And it gives you a breakdown of what it is, the disability, what the process is. It was just like, and the thing is right now, this rating criteria is very generalized. It's either total occupation and social impairment, or partial, or some here, some there, certain aspects. And it's just like, this is very vague. With the changes that they are proposing to the mental health evaluation, that will most likely end up helping veterans, because there's going to be certain criteria. It's going to be 5 different domains that they go off of. I did a workshop on that. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, that it was like breaking down what the proposed changes are for the mental health evaluations for the CFR going, what they were proposing. Now, this is what they proposed. That doesn't mean that that's what's going to actually be put in place. This is what they've been trying to do because of the changes that are upcoming, the things that are available, and the things that are ongoing right now when it comes to assessing, when it comes to using the DSM-5, which is the new mental health manual that they go off of, where the CFR, this stuff right here is outdated. This is going off of the previous one. So they're trying to update it because now there's better ways of identifying symptoms. It's more of a, how does it socially impair you when it comes to work, when it comes to like being social, when it comes to different aspects. That's what they're trying to see, and then try to see how to evaluate you in that manner. Right now with this is very like, hey, occupational and social impairment. It's very vague. It was just like, you have certain things, but the thing is do you have those certain things documented? So if you have issues where you have disorientation of time or place, do you have that recorded somewhere showing that you have that disorientation where you forget to do stuff? Like, hey, maybe you got into a car accident because you lost your train of thought. That's something that you can put in there. That's something that would identify that. If you have memory loss for names, close relatives, or own occupation, that's a buddy or witness statement. That's your significant other making a buddy statement saying, look, this dude be forgetting who I am sometimes and calls me by the wrong name multiple times when we start talking. And it's just like, and then he realizes what he did and then he corrects himself. That's a statement right there alone that most people don't even think to put. A lot of the stuff is people just think, like how I helped one guy that came into the workshops. I was just joking around, literally talking about him not being able to cut his grass because he was telling me he had back issues. And I told him, I was just like, man, you can get you could just be like, hey, look, if you can't cut your grass and somebody else is cutting your grass, that's a buddy statement too. And I was just fucking joking around. I was just throwing that out there like, hey, these are things that people don't realize. And then he was just like, my neighbor does actually cut my grass. I was just like, I haven't been able to. So my neighbor actually decided to help me to cut it. I was like, oh shit. I was just joking around and just throwing a scenario out there, but it actually fit with this person. And then they went and got a buddy statement from that person saying like, hey, I noticed that this person couldn't cut their grass because of their back issue. So their grass kept on growing too tall. So I went ahead and started cutting their grass because I saw they were disabled in that point that they couldn't push around a lawnmower. That's a statement. Those are things that is just like, veterans need to understand that it's not just a clear-cut way of explaining stuff. You have to think outside the box when it comes to explaining yourself. Because the thing is a lot of people don't understand, like when it comes to these questions, people don't understand that you are talking to somebody that has no idea who the fuck you are. These people don't know who the fuck you are. They've been seeing fucking packets of people for weeks. They don't know who you are. It was like when they see Cruz, it was just like, okay, Cruz. Now I got to look at all the Cruz's shit. Now I got to figure out what's wrong with Cruz. If you don't got the identifying information in there, hey, you might have somebody that's fucking lazy. We got lazy people all across the job in all different fields. But if that person was lazy and you didn't do your due diligence, it's that easy to just be like, denied. I ain't find shit. They didn't specify shit. And all that stuff gets put in there, and that's how people end up losing out on stuff. It was just like documentation and attention to detail. The same attention to detail we had while we were in service is the same attention to detail you have to put into your disability claim. You have to look at it as the point of, if you have your disability claims, you need to be able to hand it. This is what I tell everybody. If you are filing your disability claim, you should be able to grab your packet and give it to somebody that don't know you and put it there. See, look, I appreciate you, Airborne. Airborne says, keep up the good work, Cruz. Printed out like 50 pages worth of forms. You keep me moving, brother. Hey, Airborne, I appreciate hearing that. That's what I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear that I'm assisting somebody in doing what they need to get help, to get assisted, and to take care of the benefits that they earned. I was like, that's the whole point of it. All of us earn that shit. There's nobody that didn't earn it. All of us earned it. We served in the military. We all earned these benefits. It's the fact that most of us don't know what they are or how to obtain them. So it's just on me to make sure to educate people on doing so that they learn what it is, where to get it, and how to do it. But at the same time, like I said, if you got your paperwork and you hand it to a random person and they can't tell you, damn, Cruz, you fucked up. You ain't doing it right. You just not. You're not doing it right. If somebody's looking at your stuff and they have no idea what the fuck is wrong with you after they look through the whole thing, why would a VA rater be able to do it? I was just like, yeah, the VA rater knows you're filing for a disability claim, but at the same time, they don't know who you are. They don't know your background. They don't know what you did. They don't know what your MOS was. They don't know what units you were in. They don't know how many times you deployed or where you deployed to. That's not what they're paying attention to. They're paying attention to the documentation that shows you fucked up. And that's where a lot of people mess it up. It was just like they don't know who you are. You have to paint that picture for a random individual that picked up your file and said, okay, damn. Okay, Cruz, I see. Yeah, you got a fucked up back. Yeah, I see the bulging disc. He got the x-rays, got the MRI. Okay, that's there. Oh, ankle injury. Yep, I see all the physical therapy. Yep, I see that shit too. Migraines. Yep, he's on the medication on there. Okay, cool. Back injuries. Yep, and he still got that bulging disc. Looks like it's getting worse. I was just like, yeah, and he got degenerative disc disease. Okay. Put that on there. Yep, service connected because it's been doing and he's been taking care. Like all that stuff there when somebody looks at it in that manner and it's just like, yeah, Cruz, yeah, you fucked up, bro, here. All right, VA Raider. I found everything that you need to prove that this person is at this position or this percentage and stuff like that. Once you look at it like that, it's just like, oh, okay. But if you giving somebody your form and they have no idea what the fuck is wrong with you, even after looking for it, he said, when are we going to run? When are you going to run for something so we can vote you in? I don't know. I don't think I think I have the ability to be into politics, but at the same time, I'm too passionate and I think it might consume me. That's a hesitation part. That's where I hesitate. That the thing is I'm so passionate to help people that it's going to consume me. And I don't want to be consumed by something that everyone doesn't want. I was just like, that's why I do these, to just educate people, because I know some people don't want to be educated. Some people don't want to know. People don't want to know about this. Some people don't want to learn about the things that are beneficial to them. Some people think it's a detriment to know certain things. I just try to help as best I can. It was just like me running for office or any kind of office is just like, yeah, I know I can do change and I know I can help. I was just like, I would love to work for the VA. I would love to help the VA and help veterans understand what the processes are. Because I've thought of these things and I've done research on it like I do with anything I talk about. I do the research on the stuff so I can educate myself to be able to educate others and lead them and guide them to the right way. But the thing is certain things is just like, you see how it is. Like most of the time I try to have discussion with people and people just want to argue. They don't want to have a solution. They don't actually want to make things better. They just want to say, oh, the VA fucking sucks. It was just like I could say everything fucking sucks. In any point in time in life, I could say anything fucking sucks. But if you don't have a solution or your thing is just to gripe and bitch about it, it's like, fine. Most people don't ask me what my solution is. Because if I've gone through the process of trying to dissect what's wrong with the thing, I've looked at what the root cause may be and I've looked at what it is, but nobody asked me for solutions. Most people don't ask another person for a solution. All they want to ask for is just like, show proof. Where did you find this information? It was just like, why don't we talk about fixing the shit? That's more important than doing all this bickering back and forth. It's more like, let's fix the shit. Because it's like we see certain things are clearly being doing wrong. What can we do to actually fix it and make the process more effective? When it comes to veterans, how can we make it that veterans are filing the correct way or understanding what it is? He said, that's why it makes sense for you to run. That's what it is with the VA. Is just like there's certain things. It's just like me going through the process, me observing the process, me talking to other veterans, me understanding what veterans have a problem with, listening to what their issues are, listening to what they think could be better. It was just like there's no clear cut solution, but for certain things, it's easy to identify. It's easier to fucking have veterans have less time waiting on disability claims. Why? If you actually teach them how to do it the correct way. If you teach them how to read their medical records, how to diagnose the stuff or get the correct diagnosis or file the right disability claims with the right forms, that makes a big difference, because a lot of the times there's people that don't file the stuff correctly. And when they don't file the stuff correctly, it's just a waste of time. And it's incorrect. But it's just like, hey, you submitted your shit and then you got denied because you didn't do your due diligence. For some, they didn't know any better. For some, they just wanted to be ignorant. For some, they just thought it was just going to happen. I can't control that. It's a lot of instances like that people don't go through. This is just like, this is available. You also got this, the M21. M21-1, which is the resource that's used by the Raiders that explains the stuff. Compensation, CFR, it goes through it, gives them the documentation that they need, and it goes through it, and it gives a breakdown of what it is. Explains what the dominant hand is and explains all that stuff. That's information that's free that people can use, that it's available to them. They just don't know where to find it. And this one is, hold on, I'll put this in the chat too, copy. I don't know if it'll let me. Sometimes it lets me put the links in, but that's the M21-1. If you're going through there, you can search around and do some digging around and just find information. Same thing with my website. It's not fully made, but it has the stuff in there. Yeah, M21, hold on, everyone. So that right there gives you a breakdown of the information. There's an education service, manuals, quality assurance. But this is more for them to do their job in the correct manner. But it also allows you to see that. Like claim processing, administrative issues. You can click on that. And it gives you the different things. Regional processing office, foreign training, all that stuff. And it gives you an in-depth analysis on a lot of this stuff that most people don't know. But it's like they don't pay attention to it because it's not their level of stuff. Complete medical examination of injury cases. And it gives you a breakdown. Painful motion. Schedule ratings for it. Painful motion. Like some of it is redundant because it doesn't really give you a lot of stuff. But see, link to a painful thing. And then it just gives you the explanation. So this is more like a resource for a person that was just like, hey, this person is saying that they have pain. Okay. What does painful motion mean? Painful motion, by the Code of Federal Regulation, is with any form of arthritis, painful motion is an important factor of disability. The facial expression, wincing, or pressure or manipulation should be carefully noted and definitely related to the affected joints. Muscle spasms will greatly assist the identification. Sciatic neuritis is not uncommonly caused by arthritis of the spine. The intent of the schedule is to recognize painful motion with joint or periarticular pathology as productive of disability. It is in the intention to recognize actually painful, unstable, or malaligned joints due to healed injury, as entitled to at least a minimum compensable rating for the joint. Crepitation either in the soft tissues such as the tendons or ligaments, or crepitation within the joint structures should be noted carefully as points of contact which are diseased. Flexion elicits such manifestations. The joints involved should be tested for pain on both active and passive motion, in the weight-bearing and non-weight-bearing, and, if possible, with the range of the opposite undamaged joint. So that gives you a breakdown of painful motion. Annette, thank you for stopping by. As always, I appreciate you. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Yeah, I'm not going to go on for too long. I might go on for like another extra 20 minutes. That's about it. I got homework I got to do, y'all. Otherwise, I usually go for like 2-3 hours sometimes. I got homework I got to do. But this is the explanation for painful motion. And it says it right there. It was just like muscle spasms will greatly assist the identification. The thing is most people don't have muscle spasms when they're at the CMP exam. If you did, that shit would be perfect, because then they'll just be, yeah, that shit's fucked up. that's an easy, like, yeah, I seen that shit twitching. But most of the time, that doesn't happen. Most people don't see that. But then you would have to go back, because it's just like, it does it for all those things. Hold on. Yeah, that was a CFR there. I was like, you go back and the schedule of ratings, painful motion, it's the same thing. Then it just goes into the joints, and it'll explain what the joints are, and it tells you what it is. But this is all in the CFR. This is all information that's already there that most people just don't look into it, because it explains what the joints are. It explains what the dominant hand is. It explains all those instances that people just don't pay attention to. But that's there because it just links it for them to, if they have questions or something, it was just like, okay, this is how they interpret the stuff, because they are looking at it in this way. I was just like, oh, okay, this is the range of motion thing that's going on. Okay, so we're looking at range of motion. What do I need to know about range of motion? They'll click on it, they'll go to it, and it'll explain them. So sometimes when it comes to, like, when you look at the CFR and it goes to like the dominant hand issue, where most people don't understand that you will get a higher rating if it is your dominant hand. Why? Because that's your dominant hand. If it's your non-dominant hand, they'll give you a lower rating because of that, because of the fact that it's just like, hey, that's not your strong hand. So if you can't use your strong hand the same way that you usually do, then yes, that is more disabling to you. Because if you right-handed, but you can barely grab onto anything to write or something like that because of your disability, that's more detrimental to you than if it was your left that you can't use to write when you don't write with your left. Combined ratings table, VA math. I have the video on YouTube basically explaining how to do VA math. Another thing that a lot of veterans don't understand. A lot of people just think it's addition. It's not. It doesn't work that way. You have to pay attention to the different things. You are a pizza pie. That's how I explain it. You're a pizza pie. The percentages, you go in by order. You are a pizza pie. If you're a pizza pie and you lost 50% of that pizza pie, you got 50% left. If you get another 50% of that 50%, you down to 25. It's not that they're adding 50% plus 50%. They're taking away of it from you being as a whole. You are a whole person. You are a pizza pie. You are at 100%. You start off with 100%. You get that 50%, half of your pie is gone. You get another 50%. You got to take from the remaining pie. You're not starting from the beginning. You are going off of what's remaining on that pie. And a lot of people don't understand that when it comes to this. It was like, it's simple to go through here because all you got to do is notate all your ratings, put them in order, and do it like that. The other thing I wanted to touch on was another question that I had that was on the community post. It was just like, a gentleman asked, why is it that people will always continue to get like, keep on getting evaluated after 55? The reason that they most likely are doing that is because of the fact that once you get there, you start getting into that age where they know shit isn't going to get any better. So they want to make sure that they are claiming and filing the stuff as it is before you start to deteriorate more, because they know you're going to start deteriorating more. They know if you have back issues early on, after 55, the shit ain't going to get any better. Most of the stuff they know isn't going to get any better. So they want to evaluate you and put all that stuff in there so that way you have your rating. So the over 55 rule, that part takes into it also. Because it's just like, once you get to a certain age, the VA knows, it's just like, bro, we know you ain't getting any better. You're not getting any younger. And they understand that. So that's the stuff that it just has to be processed, and people need to understand that in that manner. Those are certain things. It's just like, but this here, CFR, Code of Federal Regulations. If you don't know about it, you need to learn about it. If you are on active duty, you need to learn about this also. If you are a veteran, you need to learn about this also. Why? Because this helps you. This is just a portion of it where most people don't understand. Aid in attendance requirements for SMLC. So for SMLC, I've had somebody that's come in here. What you definitely need is you need at least one disability that's at 100%. You have to have something that's at 100% in order for them to go towards SMLC. So one of them is like totally disabling. And then from there, So if you have the PTSD increase from 70 to 100%, that if once it gets to 100%, you should be able to file for SMCL, or they most of the time do that shit for you. Most of the time when they have that increase, when it comes to like the aid in attendance and stuff like that, most of the time when they identify you of having these issues and that you fall under that criteria, they just push that along through it. So if your increase is going from 70 to 100, I would just inquire about it, because that 100% is going to cause that, is going to basically trigger the SMCL. But you have to be able to actually get that, have the documentation. Like I said, depending on who you're dealing with. Because if you went through a VSO most likely will understand that and then just continue that process. Or sometimes the VA itself understands that they're just like, hey, you are falling under this, you are eligible for this, so we are going to further evaluate or get the criteria or what falls under that. Because I have, let me see if I have it. This is for SMCL. So it has it here. Extra scheduler SMCL for aid in attendance may be awarded if the veteran does not have a single disability evaluated as 100%. So that's the criteria. Yeah. So McNasty, you would have to wait to get that 100% because you need that 100%. In some cases, how it says it here, no, extra scheduler SMCL for aid in attendance may be awarded if the veteran does not have a single disability evaluated at 100%, regardless of the combination, and the disability is so severe as to demonstrate the need for aid in attendance. That criteria there on the specific part, I'm not well versed in that. That I would say you can, like, what I do recommend people do when it comes to that, doctor filled that out already, then it's just a waiting game. But it has to be, they have to fall under the criteria for that. That I don't know too much in depth about, McNasty, about the whole, what the specifics are to it. That's something I'm still trying to educate myself on. So this is the information I do know, but as of that, I don't know the specifics as to what will pertain to you getting that applied. Because that's where it becomes tricky. I was like, I know of the fact that it's 100%, but then after that, I don't know too much about SMC. I'm still educating myself on that, because the SMC is it's a whole different playing field, because this is after you've already got into 100%. So that there, I don't know, but this is what I know. See, so this is what it says also on the bottom. It says, note, if you have a claim that is not yet 1 year old, SMCL is an inferred claim. If the VBA did not examine for SMCL, request consideration with a VBA form 21-4138. If older than 1 year, file a VA form 2152EZ for SMCL and SMC1. Include a VBA form 21-2680 from your provider for faster processing. So that right there is basically saying that, like I said, it was just like, depending, if it's not a year old, they will probably change the claim, because if you submitted it and you fall into it, they're going to submit that into it. And like I said, if you already have it and they filled it out, you're probably waiting in the process for it to be increased and show that. You have to wait for that process to play out. And then from there, they will probably just switch it over to SMCL because you fall under the criteria. But if you have not gotten that 100% rating yet, then you fall into a different category of them trying to figure out if it's that bad that you need aid in attendance. There, I don't know how they make that criteria for it. So I don't want to lead you in the wrong direction and tell you something that I'm not sure of. This is just off of the information I'm able to obtain and that I know of. Hopefully that helps, but it probably didn't, but that's the best I can do. I don't know. I don't want to lead you in a direction not knowing exactly what it is. That is when I refer people to tell them to go to like those VSOs or even go to those VA attorneys All of these VA attorneys and stuff like that tend to have free consultations. You already know what you got to ask. Go and get that free consultation. Ask them that question. If it's a 30-minute session, go to a free consultation and ask, like, hey, I got this question about this, and that pertaining to this, and that. Let them answer it. And then the thing is like, hey, if they're going to say, hey, we'll help you do it, that's on you if you want to pay them or not. But then at least you get more direction as to what you need to do or what's in the claim that's necessary for you to accomplish. If you get that, you good to go. Appreciate you, Monica. I was like, so that's the thing that people fail to realize. It was just like, there's VSOs that have a lot of knowledge. Some of them are great. Some of them are not. Attorneys, though, attorneys can't be bad because then they don't make no money. Attorneys can't be just committing fraud because then they get disbarred. So those are the reasons why I was just like, I push people, if you're going to go through any entity, make sure that they're accredited, make sure that they are a lawyer or an attorney, because a lawyer and attorney will lose their job. A VSO gets it wrong, they're just going to be like, look, man, I made a mistake. Two different ways of looking at it. I was just like, go get those free consultations. And if you have questions, listen, they're saying I can't push my claim up higher. Can I refile my claim though? Rose, so if you have your file and you filed for the PTSD, right? And you have the evidence, you have everything you need to provide and show that it was PTSD, why it happened, where it happened, and all that stuff, appeal. Don't refile. As long as it's within a year of you getting that denial, you can appeal it, whether it's a supplemental claim where you are adding additional information or additional medical records, additional therapy, counselings, or whatever the case, or you're adding the buddy statements or the witness statements. That's a supplemental claim. If you're going through a higher level review, it's basically saying that, hey, the VA got this wrong, and I want somebody that is outside of this case to review this. Because I have everything I need. It was just done incorrectly, so I lost out on it. But that's the appeal. Then the other one is the Board of Appeals, which is the higher level one, where it's just like, it's basically like you going through court to fight the issue. So it depends. You don't want to, if you have all the stuff you need, do not refile. Because if you refile, that starts your time period when it comes to your back pay. So if you are within that year still of that denial, file an appeal. Appeal the issue. When you got that document, when you got that rating letter, decision letter, it should be on a part of it. I think it's the Board of Appeals. Yeah, if you're going through that, you got to wait that process out. The process is that shit takes long. And then with this backlog of people not being hired, people being fired, you may be waiting a bit longer than usual. But as long as you have all the documentation, all the stuff there, it provides an in-depth analysis of what you need, how you need to go about it. But if you have the opportunity to appeal and you know you are right in your appeal, appeal. The only way you want to go ahead and refile anything is if it's at the point that you are past that 1 year mark where you can no longer appeal that decision. Yeah, you want to make sure you are appealing. If you got more information, find it, obtain it, get everything you need that'll help support the claim if that's what you're going to go and do. But you want to make sure to appeal it, because the thing is if you refile, let's say you filed last year on April 5th, it's been a year, now you would have to reply because it's April 6th. But if you filed within the past year, you want to take that and you want to push that way and just go through the process. Because if you do it that way, it'll be more beneficial for you. But it's also, make sure you have your documentation. Make sure you have those buddy statements. Make sure you have that witness statement, your personal statement. Make sure you are doing your due diligence when you are going through the appeal so that they don't have a reason to just deny it again. So make sure you're doing it the correct way and doing it that way. Once you're doing it that way, you shouldn't have an issue. Yeah, because it's like statement in support of claimed mental health disorders due to an in-service traumatic event. You can file this form, a 21-0781. Because it's in-service support of a claim. So that's a statement you putting it in support of the PTSD claim. Most people don't put that shit into their file. That's a document that they can use. You go in there, just grab it up, fill it out, Put what you need to in there and use that as part of it. Because that's the thing. The more documentation you have, the more it supports your claim. You just got to make sure that it is service connected. But if you get denied for anything, that's another thing. Veterans need to understand, just because you get denied for any disability claim does not mean that that's the end of the road. Doesn't mean go and start it over. See, Rose, and that's the thing. So if you went through the process and just filed it that way, that's why you most likely got denied, because you didn't have all that stuff showing the PTSD. Because that's the thing. If you filed a long time after you have been out the service, people need to realize, vets need to realize that it's just like the VA is looking at it in the manner of, you've been out the military for 10, 15 years, right? How do I know this didn't happen between the 10 to 15 years? It's been 10 to 15 years since it happened. It was just like, you don't have any documentation of it happening while in service, or you do, but then you don't have anything underlying between that. You haven't gotten no medical records. You haven't done anything like that. That's where it's also for you, Rose, it would be beneficial going through therapy and getting a nexus letter done. Because then while you go through therapy and they diagnose you, they go through the issue, you talk about the issue. Then from there, you will be able to show like, okay, I have a nexus letter because through the therapy and through the stuff I'm going through, your doctor will be able to say, without a doubt, this person has gone through this issue and is dealing with this issue because of this event that happened while they were in service. Once that gets explained and stuff like that, it's 10 times easier to do it. Yeah. And that's what it is. And the thing is Rose, you got to remember, if you got up to 50 or to 70, unless it was like certain things, there's other things you can also claim. It's not always just the big value ones. There's other claims that can help you get up there and move up along. Because a lot of people just say what they try to stick to is those big value, or like I like to call them like the high dollar value claims, because they know that it'll shoot them up quicker. But remember, any other small little instances that you have, if they have gotten worse, it's already service connected. You don't have to provide the nexus letter, the documentation. What you're providing now is the documentation showing that the illness, disease, joint, whatever the case may be, has gotten worse. So that's how a lot of people fail to increase, because it's just like, look, if you more concerned with just this one thing and you got all these other things that have gotten worse also, you can creep up the number because of the issues that you had with these other issues. Yep. And you just have to have that documented, Rose. And then see that with having that, you have to connect that to your PTSD, because then that would be able to be filed as a secondary cause. Because basically the PTSD is there, but now you have a secondary cause that you have that, and that is also a claim. So you got to remember, you can claim it also as a secondary stuff, but have it documented, have it shown. If you have that documentation showing that that is going along with that, I was just like, look, I'm dealing with PTSD, and now I'm dealing with this because of my PTSD. That being tied together makes it a lot easier for people to see that. Makes it easier for when you go and do your file for them to understand, like, oh, okay, this is how she got this. Because the thing is if you just filing for one thing and not connecting it, then it's just like, oh, how did you get it? I was like, was it because of this or was it because of something else? Yeah. I was just like, when you do it like that, it was just like, but that's the thing. When you do it like that, they're going to look into the file. They're going to look into the documentation. Like I said, if you have a buddy that was there with you, can corroborate what it was, it happened at this time. I know, look, and I'll tell you this. Dealing with the PTSD issue is one of the hardest things you are going to do. Because you're going to have to relive a lot of that shit. You're going to have to recount a lot of that shit. You're going to have to explain a lot of it. If you have to, write the shit down. There's nothing wrong with putting it in a notebook. Write the stuff down so that you have everything that shows what it is. And then you can put that into your statement. A lot of the stuff is going to trigger you. I'm telling you that now. I went through that process, but it's just like, you're going to get triggered. You're going to go through the instances. You're going to go through the stuff of just reliving that issue and talking about the issue and explaining that issue. it's gonna trigger you. But at the same time, that way it paints that picture. It's clear to them what happened. You have the identifying documents and the identifying stuff that shows you went through that issue. And then if you have a buddy statement showing and telling how you were different, how you acted different, how the situation changed because of that, that's what helps your claim. Because you basically, yep, that's all it is. Put that into a claim. Put that into your statement. Yeah, trust me, everyone. I went through the process. I know it triggers. The thing is it sucks going through it, but at the end of the day, it's something that'll help us. And that's where I think a lot of veterans failed to realize that. A lot of the times it's just like, yeah, we deal with PTSD on certain things. We have to go through it because it helps us with acknowledging and understanding what our triggers are. It helps us acknowledge what coping mechanisms there are, because not everybody's going to be able to cope the same way, and not every mechanism is going to work the same way. For some people it's breathing exercises, for some people it's counting exercises, for some people it's like they start writing down good things, for some people it's just like they start writing about other things. It was just like, it sucks going through the process, but at the same time you're getting assistance, and then you're going to be compensated for it. Compensation isn't going to fix the issue. Compensation doesn't fix PTSD. And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand, that they don't understand about military service members. If they are dealing with PTSD, just because you're getting paid don't mean that shit goes away. That shit sticks with you forever. That's a shit you have to deal with going forward for the rest of your life. People don't understand that. Those are the issues that people don't understand when it comes to PTSD. So it's like, if people don't serve and stuff like that, they don't understand because it's not a visible thing. Most people think it's a visual imagery of you have one leg or you lost an arm, and people don't understand that somebody was there when that person lost that leg. Somebody saw that person lose that arm. That's not something you see on a regular day basis. When you see it in the movies, it's like, oh shit, that's crazy. But when you see it 5 feet away from you, and the whole surround sound is fucking going, and you see everything going around, and you see a limb fly off or some shit like that, that's something that sticks with you forever. That's not something that's a movie, because the thing is you experienced it. You experienced that explosion. You experienced that the whizzing of rounds flying. Like, you experience all that stuff, and people don't understand that because that's not something they see. But that's why I was just like, as veterans, we just have to be able to take care of ourselves to be able to learn how to deal with these situations, because most of the time they don't. And that's why we have an issue where we lose a lot of service members, because they don't get assistance. Because a lot of people just want to tough it out, or they have other veterans that'll just be like, oh, you should just tough it out. But it was just like, those are the piece of shit ones that we have. Because we have them all over. There's a lot of vets that go through a lot of stuff that a regular day person would never be able to understand, but they try to pass judgment on. So it's just like, that's the thing. It's just like, we got to be able to take care of each other, got to learn from each other, got to be able to do these things so that people understand that it's just like, PTSD is not something that is a visual aspect. Sometimes you see the visual aspect after the person gets triggered. And you see a person in a whole different way after you've seen them this way. It was just like, this person was a happy-go-lucky person that you saw all the time, and something fucking triggered them and they fucking lost it. And then you're like, holy shit. You're like, what the fuck just happened? Like, this person just went from, this person used to be happy all the fucking time. Something happened. This dude just started losing his shit. But those are the things that people don't understand. Those are the things that people need to, that they don't associate and don't pay attention to. And that's the thing that people need to realize when it comes to PTSD. Any mental health situations, it's not like people walk around with a damn lit up sign like, hey, I did, like I did. I think I did that a couple of weeks ago when I was just like, nobody yells out in the fucking street, I got PTSD. And they proud of that shit. Nobody does that. Nobody runs around saying, oh, I'm fucking depressed, and they're excited about it. Nobody does that. There's identifying factors, but there's not a fucking lit up sign that depressed. There's nothing that shows your feelings above your head all the fucking time. It's just like, I was like, yeah. And that's the thing. It's just like different things trigger different people. The thing is you don't know what it is. Because for some people, it's smell. Some people, it's the fireworks. Some people, is hearing an explosion or something that sounded like an explosion, or hearing something that looks like a fucking gunshot, something like that. Things like that trigger people, but we don't know, and you can't tell. So it's just like you have to identify those things. Yeah, and that's the thing. That was just like people don't understand that, and those are the things that people need to associate themselves and understand that it's just like a lot of things trigger. It's not just fucking talking about the event. It could just be other things, but you just make sure you are prepared. Write the stuff down so when you go into that mental health evaluation, you speak on the things. Like shit, I forgot a couple of things that were I could have mentioned. I could have pushed up my fucking mental health rating higher. But there was things that my mind blocked out that I didn't think of till afterwards. So that's it's those different things, and those are different instances that people don't understand. And as veterans, it's just like, hey, we go through these issues, and there's a lot of things that are just there. I was like, but that's mostly how it is. A lot of veterans don't understand that. But yeah, that's what it is. Just make sure you're putting the stuff in writing. Make sure you have it notated correctly. Make sure you have people contributing to those factors. Make sure that those buddy statements explain what happened, explain what their point of view is, so that way you are giving in a different point of view of what happened, so that they understand. Because like I said, VA raiders don't know who you are. A VA raider has no idea who the fuck you are. They keep on seeing claims weekly, shit daily. They don't know what you went through. They don't know the example of it. If you went and saw something like that and you just said you dealing with PTSD, but you can't elaborate on it, well, a lot of people deal with PTSD that they don't elaborate on. People got PTSD that isn't associated with being in the military. Some of them do, some of them don't. But that's stuff that you have to understand and have to be able to explain. Like I said, it's going to be a tough time to do it. It's going to be rough going through the process, talking on the thing, explaining like, oh, you're dealing with this, you're dealing with that. It's going to be difficult, but that's going to help you get help. And that's also going to help you get the compensation you deserve for it. Because that's not something that you fucking went into the military looking for. I was like, I didn't join the military to leave with PTSD. Everybody joins for their own reasons, but nobody fucking joins to leave how some of us have left. But at the same time, that's why it's just like, that's why the website says it there, guiding veterans to the benefits they earned. Because most veterans don't know that they have those benefits. Most veterans don't know they can go get mental health. Most veterans don't know that there's so many resources that assist with taking care of you as a vet. And that's the one thing people need to realize and need to pay attention. So, but I'll end it on that note. As always, if y'all have questions and stuff, the videos are always on YouTube. All my workshops are all on YouTube. It's a whole playlist on there. If you have anything, I was just like, look, you don't have to listen to the whole thing. You can put the shit on fucking fast forward and try to get information, because a lot of the times I jump around all over the place depending on questions that's asked and stuff like that, or when I'm talking on a particular subject. Most of the time I don't even try to put different chapters or something like that. Be my new president of Congress or something. We'll see, Monica. We'll see. After this degree is done in public administration, it gives me the ability to do so, because then I have a background in policy and stuff like that. So, but it's just like that's the thing. Just like, be good to one another, take care of one another, look out for one another, love one another, and stay marvelous while doing it, y'all. This has been another session of the Veteran Awareness Project Workshop. I appreciate everybody that contributed. I appreciate all the gifts. I appreciate everybody that's a member on my YouTube channel. I appreciate the team members on TikTok. Appreciate all the gifts and stuff like that. I appreciate y'all, and I can't even say it enough. Yeah. So I appreciate y'all. Y'all take care. Like I said, every Sunday I do pop-up ones every now and then that is just like veteran focused. If you want to, best thing would be subscribe on the YouTube channel, put the notifications there, because that page is just strictly for veterans. No matter if you're Republican, Democratic, Independent, that one is just strictly for veterans to ask questions, learn stuff, learn resources, use resources. That's what the YouTube page is for. TikTok, y'all see what I be doing. So as always, I appreciate y'all. Y'all take care, and I will see y'all on Sunday or sometime within the week if I got time. Or y'all see me back on TikTok arguing with ignorance. But besides that, y'all have a good one. Peace.